Well, hello, I am Kevin John, and welcome to this weekly ABC 10 Plus special where we will be previewing the high school football playoffs. Now we're on to the semifinals, and we have some big-time games in the Sac-Joaquin Section. Let's get this thing started by going through the second-round playoff matchups in each division. Starting off in Division 1. Now, after a dominant victory over Inderkum, the next challenge for Monterey Trail is the Folsom Bulldogs. Meanwhile, the Oak Ridge Trojans defeated the Central Catholic Raiders in a nail-biter, and they will host the Granite Pacers, also in Division 1. Now, in Division 2, the St. Mary's Rams beat the Jesuit Marauders in an epic, high-scoring game. The Rams will look to upset the undefeated Manteca Buffaloes, while we have an All-Sierra Foothill League rematch between the Rockland Thunder and the Granite Bay Grizzlies. Now, in Division 3, the Wood Creek Timberwolves will face the Rio Americano Raiders for the second time this season. But that's not all. The Oakdale Mustangs will host the Bandon Vikings in Division 3. Now, in Lincoln, the 12 Bridges Raging Rhinos host the East Union Lancers in Division 4. The Roseville Tigers face the Houston Huskies. And in Division 5, the Casa Roble Rams host the Lathrop Spartans. The Hillmore Yellow Jackets will host the Sutter Huskies. And we haven't forgotten about Division 6. That's where the Bradshaw Christian Pride will look to knock off the defending state champion Sonora Wildcats. Meanwhile, the Ripon Christian Knights will have their crack at the undefeated Liberty Ranch Hawks out of Galt. Now in Division 7, the Calaveras Redhawks host the Denier Coyotes, and the defending state champion Somerville Bears will host the Linden Lions. And finally, in Division 8, the Miraloma Matadors will host the Delta Saints, and the Forest Hill Wildfires host the Vacaville Christian Falcons. Now, after going through all those matchups, there's one game in Division 1 we will take a deeper dive. For our game of the week, the Oak Ridge Trojans host the Granite Pacers. Here's ABC 10's Matt George with the preview.
Hello, I'm Matt George. It's semifinals week in the Sac-Joaquin Section high school football playoffs. We have massive games through all 8 divisions, but our ABC 10 Game of the Week features 2 Division I juggernauts. It's the Granite Pacers taking on the Oak Ridge Trojans with a trip to the section title game on the line. The Oak Ridge Trojans have been grinding all season long. Last week, they beat Central Catholic on a game-winning touchdown and PAT in the final seconds to advance to this week's semifinal round.
Yeah, we just didn't give up. We kept fighting, kept giving our best effort, and just come out with the win. We're ready for anything that comes at us. We're ready to for any challenges or any anything that happens.
Well, the Trojans have quite the challenge this week facing the Granite Pacers, and don't let their 7-win, 4-loss record fool you. The reigning state champions challenge themselves with one of the toughest schedules in the state.
Everybody wants to go 10-0. Everybody wants to be 9-1. We embrace stepping up to those challenges and playing these teams because it's lessons, and it's not, like I say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I think it just led to this moment to where playoff-wise, there's nothing we haven't seen as far as game.
Grant will travel to El Dorado Hills into Trojan territory, but if there's anything to know about the Pacers, they always bring a strong fan base with them.
Playing on the road is just like playing at home because our whole fan base travels with us everywhere we go. So and they're really loud. They bring it every week.
The Oak Ridge football program has a history of excellence in the Sac-Joaquin Section, but this year they feel a bit disrespected.
Our guys are ready. We're excited for the challenge. We really feel that Folsom and Grant have kind of gotten a lot of the attention this year, and we're kind of that, the other team nobody talks about, and so we feel we got an opportunity on Friday to make a statement.
One thing both the Granite Pacers and Oak Ridge Trojans have in common, they both want another shot at the Folsom Bulldogs in the Division I championship game.
Both of us have a chip on our shoulder. They played Folsom earlier in the season, so do we. We both lost, and it's a big stage game for us.
The team wants it really bad. I feel like everybody painted us with a bad image, a bad picture. So I feel like the team will be locked in and make better choices for next time.
Oh, all eyes will be on that matchup. ABC 10 is looking forward to being out there Friday. All right, now it's time to look back at the best moments from the first round. Now here's last week's highlights, starting with Monterey Trail versus Inderkum.
It's playoff time in the Sac-Joaquin Section, and we got a rematch from week 1 to kick off postseason play. The Monterey Trail Mustangs hosting the Inderkum Tigers. It's only right these two teams meet in the postseason after their season opening battle, which Monterey Trail won 27-22. Tonight, the Mustangs hoped that history would repeat itself. Meanwhile, the loss to Monterey Trail was the only defeat the Inderkum Tigers suffered this season, so you best believe they had revenge on the mind. But this Mustang run game is no joke. Opening drive, sophomore running back Xander McKee just comes out of nowhere, finding a hole in the line and breaking out for the game's first touchdown. Imagine scoring a touchdown in a varsity playoff game as just a sophomore. I was still too scared to ask someone to homecoming sophomore year. But Xander wasn't done there. Here he is early in the second quarter, exploding for a huge run down the sideline, setting up Monterey Trail for their second touchdown of the game. Quarterback Caden Love flips the ball out to senior running back Odie Jefferson for the score, and just like that, Monterey Trail is up 14-0. And once you fall behind the Mustangs, well, you're in a world of trouble, as the Tigers soon found out. Inderkum's offense is no joke, but they had absolutely no answer for Monterey Trail tonight. Blitz after blitz after blitz. Inderkum was running for their lives behind the line of scrimmage. Meanwhile, Caden Love was showing off his run game outside the pocket. He breaks out for a huge touchdown run, building Monterey Trail's lead up to 21-0. Unfortunately, Love was injured on the play and had to exit the game, but his teammates had his back as the Inderkum Tigers could only manage a single field goal on offense. They fall to the Mustangs once again, 45-3 the final. Monterey Trail advances to the Division I semifinals, where they will face the winner of the Folsom versus Downey game. Kevin John, why don't you tell us how that game and the others around the section went?
Thank you, Matt. But before I tell them that, why don't I say that you did actually work up your courage to ask out your college crush, because that ended up becoming your wife. So congratulations, Matt. Good work out there, too. All right, guys, we're going to keep this show rolling with the quarterfinals of the section playoffs. And you can't spell Sac-Joaquin Section playoffs without the Folsom Bulldogs. We're heading to Folsom High School, the top-seeded Bulldogs seeking their 5th straight section title in the Division I bracket. And their victims this night, the Downey Knights out of Modesto. And check this out, y'all. Opening kickoff. Downey kicking to Folsom. Isaiah Williams fields this. And just like a teen running home on a Friday night to make curfew, Williams is going to run this all the way to the house. And he made curfew. Shout out to Folsom special teams coach. That was the perfect wedge on the return. Just like that, the Bulldogs, are on the board. But Downey would clap back. Julian Massanai fakes the handoff, tricks everyone, including the cameraman, but he doesn't trick Christian Cannon, who brings us in for the 28-yard touchdown. Downey would actually take a 14-6 lead midway through the first. But when you have Rider Lions on your team, no lead is ever safe. Later in the first, 4th and 9 for Folsom. Lions doing what he does best, throwing dimes. This one to Jamison Powell for the touchdown. Downey would lead 14-13 at the end of one, but Folsom would outscore Downey 49-20 the rest of the way. The Bulldogs win this one 62-34, which means Coach Doherty's squad will face Monterey Trail next week in the semifinals. Well, the Grant Pacers were moved up to Division I this year, and I guess that's what happens when you've been dominating Division II the last several years. We're heading to Del Paso Heights. And by the way, shout out to Pacers, the Pacers mascot here. Look, I don't know what you call that dance right there. The kids know it, but they getting it. The 3rd-seeded Grant Pacers welcoming in the 6th-seeded Edison Vikings out of Stockton. We're going to pick this one up in the first quarter. Grant in the red zone. Jason Williams takes the handoff, and Sir Williams reaches pay dirt. Just like that, Grant takes a 7-0 lead. Now later in the first quarter, Grant backed up on their own 2-yard line. Williams takes the handoff, and just like people running to the Thanksgiving table in a couple of weeks, Williams is gonna run this all the way to the house with some turkey, some yams, some stuffing, some green beans, Okay, I'm hungry now. 98-yard touchdown. Grant goes up 14-0, but Edison would answer back. To the second quarter, that's Devin Rasmussen with the short pass to Alonzo Ward III for the touchdown. Vikings are on the board, but the Pacers would clap back later in the quarter. Grant ball, well, look at this pass right here, y'all. Going deep, and look at the diving catch by Zoe Edwards for the touchdown. My goodness, that boy Gould. Grant goes on to win this one 35-22. The Pacers will face the Oak Ridge Trojans next week in the semifinals. Congrats to them on the victory. Now staying in Division II, the Chavez Titans out of Stockton have been one of the great stories this season. For the first time in program history, the Titans went a perfect 10-0 during the regular season. But that was the regular season, and Friday night was the playoffs. We're heading to Granite Bay High School, where the theme was ski night in the student section. Loving all the ski goggles right there. The number 2-seeded Grizzlies welcoming in the 7th-seeded Chavez Titans out of Stockton. The Titans looking to keep their perfect season going. Only problem is they never had to face Isaiah N.A. before. We'll pick this one up in the first quarter. Grizzlies ball. This dude N.A. all gas, no brakes. Or should I say all hair, no brakes. He busts out a big run right there. Later on the drive, Grizzlies in the red zone, and let Isaiah eat. The Sac State commit runs this up the gut for the first touchdown of the game, and he was just getting started. Later in the quarter, Grizzlies inside the 5-yard line, and do I even need to tell y'all where this ball is going? N.A. busts in for his second touchdown of the night, and he gets lifted in the air. Grizzlies up 14-0 at this point, but Chavez not going down without a fight. Later in the first, Elijah Walker taking matters into his own hands literally as he jukes a few defenders, picks up a nice gain. Unfortunately for the Titans, this drive would lead nowhere. Now back to that N.A. fellow. We all know he can run the ball, but did you know he can throw it too? Here in the second quarter, it's the old halfback pass. N.A. throws a dime to Sean Barnett Jr. Sean running this in for the touchdown. N.A., you are too much, my friend. This game, all Granite Bay, they go on to defeat Chavez 50-0. Up next, Coach Catalico's team will face fellow SFL opponent Rockland in the semifinals. Hey, next we're heading to Division IV to the campus of 12 Bridges in Lincoln. The top-seeded Raging Rhinos hosting the 8th-seeded Fairfield Falcons. Here in the second quarter, 12 Bridges in the red zone. Chase Walidko, no diggity, no doubt, he gets the touchdown. To the second quarter now, Raging Rhinos back on the attack. This time Bradley Kirby takes the handoff. He runs this in for the touchdown. This game was all 12 Bridges. They go on to defeat Fairfield 71-35. Next week, they will face East Union in the semifinals. All right, well, we're going to keep this show going. I am not tired yet. Next, we're moving to Division V, where the Lincoln Fighting Zebras have been standing on business all season. But see, the one thing Lincoln hasn't done this season is face the Lathrop Spartans. We're heading to Lincoln High School, the 4th-seeded Fighting Zebras playing host to the 5th-seeded Lathrop Spartans. We're going to pick this one up in the first quarter. Lathrop ball. Darian Reno rows out and fires a dart into the chest of Pablo Pena. Good luck tackling that guy. Pena drinks milk. All right, later on the drive, Lathrop in the red zone. And didn't I just say it's hard to tackle this Pena guy? Look at him as he dives in for the touchdown. But see, Lincoln says, y'all ain't about to come into our house and toss us around. To the second quarter now, Eli Duff going deep. And look at the catch right here by Aiden Trabator. Good Lord, Aiden Trabator. That was a heck of a catch right there. Aiden fired up. Now later on the drive, Lincoln in the red zone, Brock Gaylor takes the handoff, and he will not be denied as he runs in for the touchdown. Brock drinks milk. This game was a back-and-forth fight, but in the end, the Lathrop Spartans defeat Lincoln 28-21. They will face the winner of this next game. Staying in Division V. Next, we're heading to Orangeville on the campus of Casa Roble. The top-seeded Rams welcoming in the 8th-seeded Oakmont Vikings out of Roseville. First quarter here, Aiden Lopez with a short pass to Jared Alexander. And Alexander, do your thing, do your thing. He runs it in for the touchdown. All right, later, Lopez here hands it off to Xander Freitag, and look at Xander. Herbs the word, spins the verb, no diggity, no doubt. He takes that to the house, and he tired too. He could take a rest. All right, it was that kind of night for Casa Roble. I mean, they were just punching and fighting the whole night. In the end, Casa Roble goes on to win this one 55-7. Up next week, they will take on Lathrop in the semifinals. Well, what an exciting time in high school football. Can't believe we are just a week away from the section championships. Now, you can watch us every Friday night at 11 p.m. for highlights from all the big games. Of course, we'll also have highlights on ABC 10 Plus, our free 24/7 streaming app, where you can find our other special where Matt, George, and I discuss which teams to watch out for in the semifinals. Now, remember, on the ABC 10 Plus app, you can also keep up to date with sports, news, and weather. I am Kevin John. I will see you next time.